G'day guys, this is take 2 of this intro. I was going to start off filming this video at Monarto Conservation Park, but it's only a short walk there, and there was someone who just started their little loop, so didn't want to be walking around behind them, talking to myself, essentially. So I've come out to Ferries McDonald Conservation Park. As you can see, the only one in the car park here, which is nice. We're going to be doing this, what is it, 2 kilometre loop. It's only a short walk, but we're going to be out here. We're looking for Midge orchids again. We are middle of March now. I think it's the 14th, 15th today. Silly that I don't know the date, right? But yeah, we're like a couple of weeks after the last video I put up on the channel. And yeah, as I say, we're going to be out here looking for Midge orchids. Have found them out here before. I can't remember if it's the Rufous Midge orchid or the Mallee Midge orchid out here. We're going to see. I've never found big numbers here, never found big colonies, but I have found a few. Usually along the top section of the track and then coming back down the loop to this point. Yeah, really not expecting to see a whole lot else out here. There's not a lot going on at this time of year. Sorry, breathing a little heavy. It's a hard work walking in this sand at times. Anyway, so here's the fork in the trail. So yeah, I have found, I come back down this direction to this point. I found a few along the trail edge down there, but I always walk the trail in a clockwise direction here. So we're going to see what we find. I'm going to get to walking and I'll bring you back in for anything of interest that we see. So I've got 4 pin drops in this section of the park. We're in the section of the park, what would you call it? Eastern side, I guess. On the east side of Ferries McDonald Road. So yeah, I have 4 pin drops in here, and it seems it is Ganoplesium rufum is the species out here, or a variant of that anyway. I have seen them in flower here before. I'm pretty sure all the pin drops are mine, but I have only got 4 of them. I'm pretty sure last year when I came out here to look for them, I didn't find any. They're all from previous years, so we're going to see. I do have some pin drops in the western side of the park as well, so the other side of Ferries McDonald Road. And there is a little like spur trail back along Ferries McDonald Road, about halfway out the park, that seems to have a couple of records as well. So certainly try our hardest to turn some up today, but we've got a little bit of a walk until the first record I have of them in here. Spiderweb. Tell you what, I'm looking forward to it not being so hot. The heat just doesn't seem to be letting up at the moment. It's not super hot today, you know, it's probably low 30s, and the breeze is actually quite nice when you got it, but in here there's not a lot of breeze. Oh. like ant nests here. I presume they're ant nests anyway. Probably one big nest, many entrances. Alrighty, so we're here, we're in the ballpark of where this pin drop I've got is. Pin drop is from 11th of March 2023, and it was a bud at that time. So similar to what we saw in the last video at Onkita Trail, it's just kind of like a, you know, like a 3-4 inch tall green shoot with some buds on top. So gonna have a we're gonna have a look around this sort of area here. This is kind of what we're working with. It looks ridiculously dry here though. And just see if I can see a shoot. I can see on the satellite image of the park from the record, I don't know when the satellite image was taken, but I can see this little red dirt, or you know, like sort of clay sand type clearing here. The contrast doesn't actually show up that well on the camera, but there's most of the trail is white sand, and then you've got this sort of tan red sand. Well, you can kind of see it here when you scratch the surface compared to the white sand trail there. So I can see that on the satellite map, and then the observation is on the right hand side just past it. So I presume it might have been tucked in here, one of these like desiccated moss patches. But from memory, 2023, but the summer of 22-23 was much wetter than what this year has been, so we may not have any shoots here this year. I said in the last video, Ganoplesium are very drought tolerant, but you know, everything has its limits. It's not catching my eye here at the moment. Definitely not catching my eye. Like there are still some like solid moss patches here, which just need some rain to bring them back to life. Like, they're pretty crispy, but they're still here. But yeah, I'm not seeing a shoot jumping out at me here, and I'd expect it to be quite green. It should stand out if it's there, despite being small. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna hit our next pin drop, which, from memory, actually, there used to be a, like before they put in these new signs, there was a board. Used to be like little posts, like half as tall. And yeah, there was a post that always had 2 or 3 shoots in front of it. I never actually caught them in flower, but the buds were always there. And I can't remember if it got taken out or not. I think it might be the next post up from this one, because I'm pretty sure I had a pin drop on that as well, and that's a bit further around. Alright, this has kind of been a long take of me rambling about nothing, so we'll wander to the next pin drop and see if there's any at that one. Alrighty, so we're at the location of our next pin drop. It is another one of my pin drops, but it turns out it's one from later in the year, so it's of a crusty sort of, like after it's flowered and gone to seed, fruited. So I don't know when the actual flowering period for that one is, but it is somewhere in this area here. yeah, so the record on iNaturalist is from 18th of August, I think, which is way after these guys actually flower, obviously. And I think the one I mentioned that was in front of the sign was the record that we just looked at, and the new signpost we just looked at down there, which I haven't seen flower again since they replaced the post, which is unfortunate. Just having a quick look here. Nothing's jumping out at me. I'm looking into the sun in this spot, which doesn't make life easy. I might just put the camera down for a little bit, have a crawl around and see what I can see. And I'll bring you back in if I find it. The next record around is one that was in flower on 11th of March in 2023. So we'll definitely stop and see if that one's up. But yeah, I'll have a good look here first. Alright, it's not looking promising, guys. I couldn't find that one. So on to our next pin drop. So just for reference on where we are on that, if you remember back to the loop trail map we looked at earlier, we're pretty much approaching like the far end of the loop where it starts turning around and heading roughly back towards the trailhead. Not quite at the actual, like the summit, for want of a better word, the top of the sand dune on the trail, but we're not far off the end of the balloon loop, I guess. Always find to have more luck finding midge orchids much later in the year, after they've, you know, well past their flowering. They've gone to fruit and gone to seed. You still got the green stem sticking out of the ground with like the husks of the flower heads on top. Find them really easy to spot at that point. I guess they stand out once everything greens up a little bit and you have the yellow dead flower head on top. Alright, I'll bring you back in at the next pin drop. Oh, just have a look up here first. That's a stick. So this is the post that was replaced. There used to be a short little half height post here, and it used to have 3 or 4 midge orchids that would pop up in front of it every year. But since the post got replaced, I've not seen them bud up again, which is unfortunate. Anyway, it is what it is, I guess. We're going to move on to the next pin drop and see what we can find. Used to be a big colony of like nostoc commune up here as well, which is like a star jelly, like just this gooey stuff that sits on the ground. Wouldn't expect that to be here this time of year. It's way too dry. But yeah, this is intriguing. This looks like droppings from some sort of animal, likely a large domesticated cow, if I had to guess. A little bit concerning that it's in here though. Probably shouldn't be in here, being at conservation park. Alright, carrying on to the next pin drop. Alrighty, so this is the area of our third pin drop. So 11th of March 2023, we had one in full flower in this area here. So I can see this little offshoot. It's not the actual track, it's just like a game trail running off into the bush there. I can see that on the map, and the flower was pretty much directly opposite according to the map. So it'd be in this area here somewhere. Again, not catching my eye at the moment, but I'll spend some time having a look, and we'll see if we can locate a bud or a flower or something like that. I'll come back to you. Don't get your hopes up. Well, that one was a failure too. Couldn't see anything there at all. At this rate, this is going to be a wasted video. I'm not going to have anything to upload. It's just going to be me wandering around, rambling about these midge orchids that are supposedly here and that I never find. But that's the way it goes, I guess. Can't find stuff every time. It's a fair way around to the next pin drop, which isn't mine. It's from another contributor to iNaturalist. So we'll cruise around that way, and I'll keep an eye out on the way and see what we come across. You never know, I might find something, or I might find a new one that I haven't seen before. Something might just catch my eye. I don't have high hopes, honestly. I say it every video, obviously the amount of water and rain you get late spring and over summer, and how early the rain then comes in autumn, obviously impacts when and how well things flower. Oh, was it down there? Missed it. So yeah, you know, there could just be absolutely nothing to see here yet. Nothing's come up because there hasn't been any of those early rains yet. Looking back at a lot of the photos in the gallery on my phone and like records from a couple of years ago, a lot of everything was quite wet when I was venturing out at this time of year. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of videos where I'm wearing quite a heavy vest and jumper early March from 2023. So yeah, that's orchid hunting for you, I guess. I'm going to keep strolling through the sand here, and I'll bring you back in at the next pin drop. Not that I expect to see anything. Alrighty, so having another look at that pin drop that isn't mine. It is not on the trail. It's off the side of the trail, and I'm not really all that keen on like just rambling in the bush looking for something that I may or may not find this early in the season. So I think we're just going to call this an unsuccessful mission here, and I think I'm going to head round. We'll get back to the cruiser, and we'll duck back across to Monarto Conservation Park. It's only 5-10 minutes up the road, and we'll have a look to see if anything's up there. I don't normally like visiting Monarto. It feels more like a botanic garden to me, like a arid lands botanic garden, than it does an actual conservation park. And I'm not sure if that's because the area where the walking trail is has some benches and is like a re-veg area. I'm not actually sure if it's been revegetated or not. That's the vibe I get from it. But yeah, and it also just seems to always have people there, which I don't like, particularly when it's quite a short walking trail and you're kind of always within earshot of someone. So but it does have a real good variety of orchids there, particularly later in the year. Definitely midge orchids there. Again, it's just going to be whether they're actually in flower or not. So yeah, we're going to call it unsuccessful here, and the next time you see me will be at Monarto, pending anyone else being there. Alright, back in again. We're here at Monarto Conservation Park now. Still don't really have my hopes up. You can see this is the loop we're going to be doing. It's not a massive loop, so about half the length of the one at Ferries McDonald. It is a nice little park, this one. Like, it's alright. As I mentioned in the last clip, it feels a bit like a Arid Lands Botanic Garden or like a Mallee Botanic Garden sort of thing. But that could just be a perception of mine. But yeah, we'll go for a stroll through here. There's a couple of spots here where I know there's Midge orchids. I've never actually seen them in flower here, but I have seen the stalks later in the year when I've been looking at other orchids. There's actually a really nice park here for Caledonia cardiokyla, heart-lipped spider orchid. And maybe I'll actually come out here and have a look at some this year, because I haven't had much luck at Ferries McDonald in the last couple of years looking for them. So anyway, I'm going to put you down for a moment and pull up iNaturalist, see if I can find any pin drops for these guys, because I don't have any of my own in this park. And I'll come back in when we find something interesting. So yeah, got 43 pin drops here of Midge orchids to work with, so a few more opportunities, I guess you could say, to actually find one that's in flower. Yeah, so I'll work hard, see if I can find one that's up, and I'll definitely bring you in if or when I find that one. So it does seem like the species here is Genopleasium tapperi, rather than Genopleasium rufum, and they seem to flower just slightly later. So kind of looking at the, you know, peaking first week of April, like, what, 3 weeks away. They definitely do start flowering now, according to the observations on iNaturalist. But we're right at the start of their season. Don't mind me. Nope. Yeah, right at the start of their season, as opposed to, well, I suppose we're right at the start of the Rufous Midge orchid season as well, but the Rufous Midge orchid seems to flower a little bit earlier. Yeah, anyway, I'll keep looking at these pin drops. No luck so far. I've had a look at 4 or 5 now. 30 or 40 to go. Yeah, we'll keep looking. Still not finding any orchids, but got these interesting tracks here. I feel like they might actually be goanna tracks. I'm talking about these guys here. So you kind of got the tail slide up the middle as it goes side to side, and then you got the alternating feet on either side as it walks, coming through here. Looks like it may have got a couple of different sets here. May even be a couple of different ones, or one that's been wandering around. They disappear into the underbrush over here. There is sand goannas out here. I've seen them out at Ettrick, which is the other side of the river, like other side of the Murray River from here, but it's similar sort of terrain. And a lot of people see them out at like Monarto woodlands and stuff, so yeah, it'd be cool to see one, but I've only ever seen 2 in my life, sand goannas that is, so hopes aren't high to see one of those either. I feel like this is pretty much going to be a failed video for orchids out here, to be honest. I don't think we're going to find any. I'll still upload this anyway, you know, it's kind of the way things go. Can't find the stuff you're looking for every time. But yeah, I'm just going to keep wandering, and maybe I'll luck across one. Alrighty, well, that's going to conclude this video. As unsuccessful as it was, that's the way it goes. I'm not even going to ask you to like this video. As I say, if you've watched it just for the wandering around and me rambling, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll try again in the next one. I don't think I'll bother coming back out here again for another 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe I'll just wait until we get the first rain for the year. Might be the better way to approach it. Some big kangaroos. They probably didn't come out on the camera, I don't think. Yeah, we might wait till we get some rains, and then I'll come out a week or 2 after that and see what's shot. It's pretty much just the midge orchids out here. About a month's time we'll have the Aerochylis, the Aerochylis species. Bunny orchids popping up. They're another difficult one to find. They're small and don't really form dense colonies from my experience. But we did find a few last year, so hopeful of that. And yeah, I'll get back out to Onkita and follow up on the midge orchids we found in the last video that were budded up. They should be open now. I might even head over there now. It's a fair hike from here, but you know, I want to see them open. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hooroo.